Hi, Todd Swart here, getting started on a new painting. I wanted to show you what I'm working on. It's a nice interior scene. This is down in LA's Union Station, and it's a group of travelers. There's a few characters there. They're all kind of just waiting for the train. A couple things. I'm going to have to be real careful about the posture. This person is kind of hunched over, and so I need to it's going to be a lot of work to make that posture look natural. Right now it looks, I don't know, it doesn't quite look natural. But I think the placement and the composition is pretty solid. This person, I'm not sure if I'm going to have them walking away from us or walking towards us. I'm kind of leaning towards walking away just because these two characters are already facing towards us. So having someone walking away might add a little bit of contrast. But overall, I think it's looking pretty good. I think it's going to be a good painting. Okay, so I've blocked in most of this painting. With this piece, the main focus is really going to be on these two characters here. The other characters are important, obviously, as well, but I think these two are going to be kind of the main points of focus. With this particular painting, I've started by blocking in everything around them, blocking in the background, the walls, the stairs. I don't like this green in the foreground. I'm going to change that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But again, I've started blocking everything around, and then I've kind of left the characters for last. And the characters, the people, are going to be what will take the most work, because they're the most important, they're the focus of the painting, and so I will want them to be the most developed, especially these two girls, and especially kind of their face and hands are going to be really crucial. But I think it's looking okay so far, and it's a pretty good start, I think. An interior scene like this that's lit from many different light sources can be really tricky because it's got a very narrow range of tones, and I've had to push and pull and go back and forth quite a bit in some of these areas. This wall, this background here, I've made that lighter and darker several times. Same thing with the stairs and this pillar here, trying to balance all those tones and create lights and darks within that narrow range of tones. I think it's coming together pretty well. Obviously, I've got a lot of work to do on my figures, which are just kind of blocked in at this point. But I'm happier at least with everything surrounding the three figures. Okay, so I've got most of the major areas of this painting pretty well developed. I really need to focus now on the faces. With this painting, it's especially tricky because, as you can see over here in the reference photograph, those the faces are the people are masked, which makes it a little bit difficult to use it as reference. So what I did actually is I have a book of art models, and so I found a couple of faces that are in kind of the same posture, the same position, and I photocopied them in. So I've got these references here, which look a little bit goofy just there by themselves, but they work pretty well in terms of establishing the angle of the faces and the tonal areas. I need to be careful though, because the photos, these two that I copied in, are both a lot lighter than the actual two subjects are. So I need to take that into account as I paint it. But overall, it's working pretty well. The hands are another thing that's really are notoriously difficult, but I think they're coming along pretty well. Get a little bit of a shot there of the hands. Got those kind of blocked in, and her hands as well. There she's holding that phone. So I still got some work to do on both of those, but I think it's coming along. Alright, so this painting is getting to the point where it's pretty well developed, but it's still not finished. What I like to do when I get to this point in a painting is go through and just sit back for a while and just look at the painting. You spend 10-15 minutes just looking at it, and what I do is I'll make a list of everything that still needs to be done. Most of them are pretty minor things, but they're really important things. They're you know, those finishing touches, Scott Christensen says it's the last 10%, and the last 10% takes up a substantial amount of time. But that last 10%, or that last 5% even, really makes a big difference in the final product. So what I'd like to do now is go through and actually go through all the items on my list and let you see what I got. Okay, so the first item on my list is that I want to darken the left side of this girl's face here. You can see that I've got one side a lot lighter than the other. I did that to kind of indicate a light source, but I think I've made that distinction too much. So I want to darken up this side a little bit to make it more even lighting. Being an indoor scene like that, there's not one single light source. The next thing is I want to soften the left side of this girl's face. It's got a nice hard edge right there, and I think it stands out a little too much. And the next is I want to refine this handrail right behind her head. It's kind of a little bit clunky, so I want to just kind of add some refinements to that, make it a little more interesting. I want to widen the bottom edge of this stair. You can see that this stair here is a little bit thicker on this side than it is on this side, so I want to lower this bottom edge there to kind of even that out. I also want to lighten the edge of this, there's a floor mat right there, and that black edge is a little too dark. If you look at the whole painting, it stands out just a little too much, so I just want to darken that just a little bit. I want to soften the shadow behind this girl here, that shadow on the wall. Again, there's no single light source, so that shadow is just a little too strong. So I want to extend it up here a little bit and just kind of soften that up a little. This girl's hair, I want to refine the shape of her hair, or maybe add some changes to it, add a little bit of, you know, a few pieces flying off here and there. It just looks a little too plastic, a little too perfect. I want to darken, or excuse me, I want to lighten the darks on this piece of luggage here. I've got that kind of just as a black with a little bit of purples accented, but again, same as these darks here, that dark accent I think is just a little bit too strong. I want to define the edges of this girl's cell phone. So it looks like you can see her phone and where it is, but the top of it, there's just kind of a white space right there. And so it's hard to see, especially from a distance. It's hard to see the edges of her phone. I want to put a dark edge on this banister up here. Just a little bit of a trim on this part that angles up. Just a little trim there and a little trim right there. I think that'll just help make that space pop a little bit. I want to add some highlights to this girl's hair bun. So I've got some highlights on the front of her hair there, and I just want to add a couple to that little bun just to make it more interesting. I also I need to check the shape of this girl's head. It looks like it's a little too small and maybe a little bit out of place. It might be a little kind of up and to the right. I might need to lower it and bring it to the right a little bit. It just looks a little bit off. And the last thing is I want to refine the base of these plants right back in here. So the plants come down to the planter, but what's in that planter there? Is that dirt? What's going on right there? I need to refine that. So it's kind of a lot of work. It's a lot of small things, but I think it'll make a big difference. Okay, so I think this painting is pretty much done. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. This has been a fun project to work on. If you like this video, I hope you'll click the like button and click subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching.